Okay, everyone, so now we're going to look at an example of user-controlled repetition, which is unlike counter-controlled repetition. With counter-controlled repetition, we basically know at the onset of the loop how many times the loop is going to go, whether it be 1 time, 20 times, 5,000 times. With user-controlled repetition, the user decides how many times the loop is going to go, essentially, whether or not he or she wants to keep using the program. If you think about like games, video games, at the end, when the game is over, you often get the option to play again, yes or no. And if you say yes, it just resets the game and from the beginning, and you can play it over and over. You can play it all day if you want to. So that's really like an example of user-controlled repetition. So we can do that in C++ as well. First, let's look at this program. This is a simple program that will calculate the sales tax on an item. So let me just run it. Okay, so let's say I'm buying a book for $9.99. I press enter. So we have the item cost is $9.99. The sales tax, assuming Cook County sales tax, is almost $1 here. We're at 10% at this time, and so the total is $10.99. You know, one of your documents does show you how to represent currency with 2 decimals. I'm not going to cover that here because it's just a big long thing that you have to type. So let's just look at the program. We have variables up at the top for the item cost. That's the initial cost, the $9.99 that I entered. We have the item tax, which will be calculated, and the total, which will be the item cost plus the item tax once we calculate the tax. I also have the tax rate here. I declare that as const, meaning a constant, in that it won't change. You know, all of these things, the cost, the tax, not the tax rate, but the sales tax, the money amount, and the total, those can all change. Those are variables. The tax rate, you know, it's 10%. This isn't going to change. Obviously, it'll go up eventually, but, you know, as the program is running, the tax rate is not going to change. So it's going to be 10% here in Cook County. So, and then, you know, let's say next year it goes up to 11%, which, of course, eventually it just keeps going up and up and up. Then we can change it here at this point in the program, but we, you know, when you create a variable as const, it means the value is solid and I can't turn around and change it later in the program. That'll produce an error. So anyway, I'm getting the cost from the user using cin to put that into the item cost variable. I'll calculate the tax on the item. So the item tax is going to be equal to the item cost, the $9.99 that I entered, times the tax rate, which is 10%. So that'll give me like 99 cents to go into item tax. And then the total, of course, will be the cost plus the tax that we just calculated. And then I display that all to the user. So this program will allow me to calculate the tax on one item. So let's say I'm buying a paperback book for $5.95. And here it is. And then that's it. The program is over. What if I have a big stack of books and I want to do this again and again and again? What we can do is loop this program using user-controlled repetition and keep asking the user, do you want to go again? Do you want to go again? Yes or no? So that's what we'll do. Basically, what you want to do, and my recommendation is to, when you're going to do a user-controlled loop, just get the program working one time through. Don't even think about the loop. Just get the program operating correctly one time, as I have right here, and then you want to think about the loop. So basically, you're going to you need to think about what exactly is going to be repeated. You really don't want variable declarations or definitions up at the top to be repeated. You want to leave those outside of the loop. So we're going to, you know, let me mark these off. And we're going to leave these outside of the loop. So those, you know, just kind of section them off. You don't want to put variables inside the loop, because then they keep being destroyed and recreated over and over again, and that's generally not what you want. Sometimes you would want that, but typically you don't. So we're going to leave those outside the loop. So this is really the part that we want repeated, where we're asking the user for the cost, calculating the cost, or calculating the tax and the total, and then displaying it. So this is the part that's going to be repeated, this snippet of code right here. So here's what you do. You're going, I call this a sandwich technique. You put this into a do loop sandwich. Well, you know what? First, what you need, I'm getting ahead of myself here. We need one more variable. And why don't we create a character variable, and we'll call it go again. And we will set that equal to y for yes. Okay? And now I'm going to sandwich my program here, the part that I want repeated, in a do loop. So we'll say do. You can put the opening curly brace here on this line. You see your book. The books do that a lot to save space, on the printed page. Or you can do that. So this is like the top piece of bread on the sandwich. Okay, and so now we'll go to the bottom and add the bottom. So we'll say do while, go again, equals, notice the double equal sign there, y for yes. And remember, with our do loop, we have that semicolon. Don't forget about that. Okay? So then what we have to do is give the user a way out. So I'm going to say, go again, yes or no. I'm instructing the user to enter a y or an n. And then we'll get that with the cin and put it into the go again variable. Okay, so that's basically how you accomplish user-controlled repetition. Let's recap here. Step 1, create we'll call it a go again type of variable up at the top here, which is what we did, a character variable. Or, you can use a numeric variable, press 1 to keep going, press 2 to stop, or something like that. You can use an integer variable, but I like the character. The y or n for yes or no usually works well. And then we create the sandwich here. Okay, and you have to be careful to give the user a way out. Okay, so there's the user's way out. Okay, so let's try it. Okay. All right, so there's my first book. Let's say I have a couple more that I want to buy here. I'm going to say yes, I want to go again. Okay, we will enter the item code. So here, you know what, I'll show you how to clear the screen if you want to keep clearing it after each item. Here's my paperback, $5.95, and there we go. Go again? No, I think we'll leave it at that. And that's it. Okay, let me show you how to clear the screen. We can say system CLS here up at the top, and that'll do that. Okay, $9.95. Go again, yes, and here we go.